Original Transformer,
Yeah.
original Transformer, original Garbage Pail Kid,
Oh my God.
the Jetsons, yeah, Gumby,
I see Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head, yeah, Gizmo, the Gremlins.
Wow. Happy New Year and welcome to What Are Those, the show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here, man. First show of 2025, and we're coming out the gate strong. I'm not even going to waste a lot of time. Okay, we're going to jump right into it. But before that, I do want to tell you, I want to thank everybody that subscribed to the channel. I want to thank everybody that's been patient while I was on my break, getting used to this house and just taking some time to just relax, man. I just really needed that time with the family, all of that stuff. We're back in it. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Subscribe to the channel, okay? Subscribe to the channel. Cut on and click the little notification bell. Comment on the videos. All of that helps the algorithm and helps me out. All right? Appreciate you. Okay. Now, when I say we're coming up the gate strong, we're coming up the gate strong. This is a two-part episode. Yeah, a two-part episode with one of the coolest guests. And I mean this. Like, I always mean it when I say a cool guest, but I really enjoyed this episode, man. I'm kind of geeked up because the conversation just ended, and I'm really excited to get this one to you all. My man Terrance Keller is in the building, man. He is an artist by the very definition of the word, okay? He is a vintage sneaker collector. He restores sneakers. He is just a collector and an enthusiast of the game, of hip-hop, of culture just in general, man. And probably top 5 most fun conversations I've ever had on this show and any of my shows, man. And again, I'm not trying to size it. I'm just being honest, man. Terrance, part 1. Okay, we talk about how he got into vintage, what influences him, what inspires him, and all of that, man. It's a great conversation, and it's just part 1 of our conversation. So let's jump right into it. Terrance, what's happening, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Cooler, man. You got some cool stuff behind you, man. Do I see Gumby back there, bro?
Yeah. That's Gumby.
I love
it. Had a little bit of original Transformer.
Yeah.
Original Transformer, original Garbage Pail Kid.
Oh my God.
The Jetsons, yeah, Gumby.
I see Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head, yeah. Gizmo, the Gremlins.
Wow. That's cool, man. That's cool, bro. Yo, thank you for joining me, man. That just put the biggest smile on my face. I like stuff like that, man. You know, I before we jump into it, I like stuff like that for the same reasons. I feel like me and you probably feel the same way, man. Like for the same reason I like sneakers, right? And I like the MCU and these things that people, you know, it's funny enough, I before I got started and logged on, you know, I've been doing this 365 sneaker thing or whatever, right? And this dude was kind of coming for me. That's not important, right?
Yeah.
That's not the most important part. What it made me think about is like, well, it's fun, right? And it's like, as heavy as times are right now, I feel like we have to be like super intentional about having fun and doing the things that bring joy to you, man. So
there you go. And
you know,
you hit it right on the head. And you know, like I'm gonna say before we start, like thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like you just said, I'm glad you brought that up because this is fun to me.
yeah.
Like, you know, like this is like even like online, like you say, when you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to, like you say, crazy comments, you open yourself to stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just shoes.
It's just having fun, man. Why you worried about it, bro? So let's talk about shoes, man.
Yeah.
You know, you are part of this kind of like, I don't even want to call it a subculture, sneaker culture, because it's not. I don't think it's a sub. It's just a big part of sneaker culture that people don't think about, and that is like the vintage sneaker collector, right? Obviously, my man Professor Schooler had him on the show before.
Yeah.
You know, he's known for that, and so are you, man. I get like a daily alert almost from you when you post your choices. Sometimes it's just like, bro, what? Like, so let's just talk about like how you got into not only just sneakers, but vintage sneakers. And also for the audience that may be tuning in, because a lot of people that tune into the show are really learning about sneaker culture, right?
Cool.
Explain to them what it means by like, what does vintage sneaker collecting mean?
Okay, like, well, I mean, it started for me um as a kid. I was born in 81. So, in 1996 I was 15.
Yeah,
So, I mean, a lot of people would say that's the peak
yeah,
era of like everything. Even if you go down to music, to like the BMX bikes, I mean, the toys, the
yeah,
cartoons, the
yeah,
whole thing, So I mean, I grew up in a small town in Louisiana. We was big on Reeboks. Reeboks was everything. That was the shoe to have at that time. But I also was very big on like music videos growing up.
mm,
And so being in a small town, like you said, you're from DC. And so that was my gate to the East Coast, to the
mm,
West Coast, to see what Grand Poobah was wearing, to see
mm,
what, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
MC Ren them was wearing on the NW, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If
yeah,
it wasn't for music videos, I would probably only know and be wearing Reeboks. But that was my gate to the other stuff that was going on outside of the thing. So I was very big on like hip hop, like I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like very, very MC Breed, you know what I'm saying? Early Digital Underground, NWA, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of got me into that. And I also collected like cards, like sports
mm,
cards.
right,
So
yeah,
baseball cards, football cards, baseball cards. So a lot of the shoes that I have, even like the not only vintage but the retro ones, they
yeah,
are most likely attached to a player
yeah.
because I had their card. So for
Uh,
me, it wasn't just like, oh, these are the Griffies, but who are Griffey? No, I had the cards. You
right,
know, it's not just Bo Jackson. Oh, he played. No, I have the cards.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I find that interesting because, and that's why I hesitated, because again, it's not a subculture; it's just like another arm of sneaker culture. Because a lot of times with sneaker culture, and I'm sure you see it this way too. Like it's just about getting fresh, right? It's just like
Yeah.
I like these because they're or so it's like it's people that just want to get fresh. There's people that want to have like a museum and say I have everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's people that love the nostalgia of it,
Yeah.
right? And I think for outsiders, I would really kind of you could if you want to find something to relate to. It's like the guy that collects the jerseys or the guy that collects like the what I mean. It's kind of like the same thing, and that's why I think like we don't really pay that. People don't think about that side of sneaker culture. You know what I mean? Which I think is probably, especially with this thing, I'm learning now, like, you know, if I'm going to try to do 365, I got to wear some stuff I ain't worn in years,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is the cool part about it, and it's funny having you on. I'm gonna talk to you. I keep hinting at that. I'm gonna ask you
Go
some
ahead. Go
advice
ahead.
in a bit, okay? So I don't want to. Let me get to that a little bit later. I think it's cool because sneaker culture is like about the hunt. It has always been about the hunt, finding that new thing. But I think like the hunt is kind of reversed now. Now it's about finding grails, finding that retro, finding that, even if it's like a re-release, like digging back into the past, the thing that really made sneaker culture beautiful and why we fell in love with it. What you're describing is why I fell in love with sneakers. You know what I mean? So tell me about like just like that like how do you find some of the stuff, man? I'm gonna have to put some B-roll up in this episode. I see
Yeah.
that now. Some of the stuff you're pulling out, man, that's like it's really blowing my mind. I hadn't seen that sneaker since 1996,
Yeah.
1997.
Yeah.
How are you finding these sneakers in such good condition?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The way I mean, the good thing is to my advantage, I'm just like an open-minded person.
Mm,
So even when it comes to music, like fashion, like style, like I don't have like one set thing. So like when I'm searching, there's like no box. I could be looking on like, everybody knows eBay. I'm
yeah,
not gonna give away all of my secrets because then I got
yeah, that's
but
funny. I was
but
thinking, I probably shouldn't have asked you that because I wasn't
nah.
close.
I'm gonna say just enough to not give it away. But I'm gonna just say I'm one to think outside the box. I'm very open minded, but luckily for me, I've been like that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, like I can honestly say it's kind of like you saying the hunt. So when I was growing up in my small town in Louisiana, I'm sure you probably could relate to this. You
Mhm.
know, we had this store that had, certain kicks or certain sneakers, but you would go all the way to the store on the other side of town because they had a different color. But then you would come back to your neighborhood or your school and, oh, where you got those from? You see what I'm saying? So just thinking outside of the box, even in that sense, was like something that I used to do. Like, I live my hometown growing up. It's probably 45 minutes away from New Orleans.
Okay.
So when I was young, I was driving early, like 15.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
going to New Orleans to get shoes
Yeah,
and
45 minutes away. Yeah, that's
and
what's
come
up.
back to my little small hometown and go to school. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay, you got them. Where you got those from? So,
right,
you know,
right.
and a lot of times I'm just searching online. I really just search like random. A lot of times I think people think it's like a specific thing. Like a lot of times I can say that luckily for me, I grew up in it and I watched a lot of music videos. I know about East Bay Magazine and I know about the sports players because I collected cards.
Yeah,
So a lot of times too, we call say the Pippins.
right,
That's not the real name of the shoe. So like if I'm searching, that's why now I'm heavily into I might say a shoe, but I'm like quoting the real name that will be on the box.
right, right, right.
And that's a lot of people don't know that because a lot of people we grew up in this, in the hood in these urban areas, and that's the Bo Jacksons. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't know that's the Trainer SC. A lot of people don't know that.
right. Yeah, and that's that. That's like that, and that's why I really respect what you do. And I've been so like fascinated by it because it's a true. In order to even do what you're doing, you have to have a knowledge of the sneaker. You have to. I mean, we all could have. Listen, there's a lot of people who loved sneakers and basketball back then, and probably even had a couple of the pairs that you posted and forgot about them now. We pretty much the same age. I'm born in
Yeah,
82, right? So we
yeah,
pretty much the same age. By the time they 42, 43, 44 years old, they literally forgot that sneaker existed. So you have to have that knowledge of like, let me even search for that. And I can't stress enough to the audience, especially the people that are just listening. It's not just, oh, he whipped out the Pippin. You're pulling out like obscure, like dope sneaks that were like hot at the time
yeah.
that a lot of people haven't even thought about. Nike hasn't even, or Reebok, or maybe actually, yeah, none of the brands are even thinking about like let's retro this sneaker. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
That knowledge, um, it shows like you have a true love. Do you think that love springs? Because you mentioned hip hop a couple of times, and you are an artist,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
make music. Do you think that love really springs more so for your love of sports and music, or do you think it really is just an actual love for the sneaker, or is it just a combination of everything that just sort of like mashes together?
It's kind of like a combination of everything like together. Like even like growing up, like me as a kid, like I was very artistic. Like even like when it comes to like clothes and like fashion, like a lot of people don't know. Like I used to make my own clothes in like ninth grade and stuff. I used to do like weird stuff like that. So for me, even when I see clothes or I see shoes, it's like I'm that person. Like I'll see a shoe, and I'll be so detailed as to like, oh, I like this shoe, but I would like it if the stitching didn't go like that. Like I was like that when I was a kid. So it's
Yeah,
the artistic, like so it's the design, like it's the shape.
yeah,
That's why you might see a lot of us like the OGs, and like I do have retros, but certain ones, the main thing what we say is the shape.
yep, yep,
So so down to the detail, it's like the shoe could look the same because they're making the shoe off a picture of the shoe. They're not making
yeah.
it off of the same dimensions, the
Or
same
trying to
cut.
make it more comfortable, modernize it and make it
Not,
more
yeah,
comfortable, as opposed to the 1980 cut silhouette that might have tore your feet up a little bit,
yeah,
but it don't look the same. It's not as yeah.
exactly. And that's why I show a lot of the shoes that I show, like you said, because these brands probably don't even think a lot of people even still care about those. For number one, for number two, a lot of people just don't even have them. Or like you said, even to remember back that far, the name of them.
Right, right,
Luckily for me, I paid attention to a lot of stuff as a kid, especially when it came to sneakers, fashion, and music. I'm gonna always say those three things
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I watch Rap City every day after school,
Mm,
every day for years. So the shoes go with the, the ACG go with the polo, you know what I'm saying, with the baggy jabos, the starter jersey with the stripes, you know what I'm saying, go with the fila, with the strap, with the Carl Kanai jeans, the Willie Esco go with it,
yeah,
I mean, I watched
yeah,
it so much, and then I also collected the Source magazine.
yeah, yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean,
Man, this is I'm smiling, I'm grinning ear to ear because some of the stuff you name it, it's like, yo, that's what I love about this, man. And you're saying music and fashion, right? And, to me, hip hop is a subculture of black culture.
yeah,
Sneaker culture and fashion culture are subcultures of hip hop culture, right? And that's all. It's all, and then you get sports in there, and a lot of the sports that we were influenced by hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
And street culture and black culture. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And so all of it combines into your love for all of this, man. The natural next question for me is: it's one thing to be a collector.
true.
It's one thing to say I got a lot of this stuff and I love this and this is why I do it and this is what makes me feel good about it. What makes Terrance feel good about it.
Yeah,
Why? What made you decide to share it publicly on social media in the way that you do? There's a lot of photography elements in there. A lot of
true.
Talk to me about
I'm learning every day. Like honestly, it started. I got a cousin, my first,
it.
my cousin. We call him Leray. He used
Mm,
to always tell me, "Man, why you don't be showing your stuff?" I'm very like humble
mm,
under the radar. I just do it because I like. I've been like this since a kid, so for me, this is like normal.
yeah,
So
yeah,
oh man, you need to show your stuff, man. You need to show your shoes. You need to show your shoes. And then my wife started saying it. Why you don't show your stuff? Why you don't? I'm one of those people like I don't want to feel like I'm showing off.
mm, mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of those type of people. So like we would, go out sometimes to like the clubs and stuff, and I would have like this fire like outfit with these fire shoes, but I would
yeah,
purposely pick the simple plain thing because I don't want to feel like I'm like
yeah,
in your face, like that's just
yeah,
how I am.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, like my cousin and they like you need to start like showing your stuff, and so now I'm just getting around to looking at it like it's not showing off. I'm just showing people what I'm into.
yeah. And I'll give you your flowers because you may not realize it because you are, and I can tell you are a very humble person, and that's a beautiful thing. It is bringing joy to people. Like I personally get a kick out of it. Like I'll get the DM or the alert that you
Yeah.
posted, and I'll be like, "Yo, like what? Like you know what I mean? Like it is a really cool thing. I'm glad you decided to start showing that off because another slogan on this show is sneakers are wearable art, and you're just showing off art pieces. It's not showing off.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sharing art with people. That's what art is for. You know what I mean? And I think that's really really dope. Talk to me about some of the reactions you've gotten since you started posting your wearable art.
Like you said, like luckily it's been a lot of like that's really the reactions. Like, oh, I remember I had those. Oh, I remember my cousin had those. I remember they had this dude that's it's usually because you gotta understand these are shoes that people ain't seen in 30 years or haven't like thought about or even know the name of it or they just remember the time. So it kind of takes them back to that time, which is the reason that I collect and that I'm into this stuff. Like so a lot of the reactions are like I mean extremely like positive, extremely like oh man, even like the restoration projects that I did, it's like damn, but that goes into my and I don't look at myself as a sneaker restorer. I
Yeah,
just I'm that goes back to just me being detailed and like how shoes are made and the cut and the height and the sole and the stitching. I
right.
just luckily have a eye to detail so that so like the reaction's been like really like oh man I remember that that's fire I remember those or what are those like again then the
Yeah,
lesson comes in like oh these came from this year this such and such warm and this goes back to the cards that I collected and that was that I mean that's one of my advantages that I'm glad I collected cards because everybody know about the top players.
Right.
Everybody
Right.
know Pippen, Jordan, Barkley, but you got to be really in it to know Kevin Johnson with Converse. You got to really be in it to know Karl Malone had LA gear. You got to really
Yeah.
know to know, you know what I'm saying, the other ones. And so
Yeah.
that's the advantage. So it's been good feedback. I mean, the feedback is really just like I remember those. I remember those. I remember those. Or what
That's
are those?
yeah. Right. That's really really cool. I hadn't even thought about it. Like I see why you keep mentioning like the cards, right? Because it's like you can. That's like a reference point. I hadn't even thought about that, and I hadn't thought about the restoration piece. Let me ask you about that really quickly. And again, I don't want you to give away the sauce because
Yeah.
I get it. Like you know what I mean. But like um how often are you having to restore because you're getting older pairs, right?
True.
I imagine and a lot of these having retroed, or it's not like you're getting like the 2016 version of the 1994 shoe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. A lot of times, like I got a pair of Dion's in here. That's a famous. That's the first. Well, I've always told people that's the first pair of shoes I bought. The Diamond Turfs. I have a pair, but they're not the
Yeah.
1993 or 4 pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you get it, your hands on what? Let me just ask: how often are you having like a percentage of the sneakers are you having to like restore in order to put on feet?
I have right now I have like a whole stack to restore.
Mm,
But
mm,
for me, again, being that I'm like so into it, it's fun. I
yeah,
don't even look at it as like, and honestly, that's why I don't like to even do it for other people. Like, when people, hey, can you do a shoe for me? It's not, for me, this is art. Like I said, growing up, I was very artistic, very into all of any type of art, fashion design. So when I do stuff like this, it's almost like a mental freedom type of thing. So like when I do these things, I literally go in the garage, I put music on,
yeah.
and I got a speaker and I'm working on shoes.
Working
So,
on the
but I'm working at it. I'm working on them on my own time, at my own pace. I don't have a
yeah,
time limit to finish. There's
yeah,
no requirements, and
yeah,
I'm into it. So it's different from if I was doing it for somebody else and I got a time limit. I have to be finished by a certain time. Then you playing with other people's money, and it makes it not fun.
right, right,
So I have and the shoes that I got to fix
yeah,
are
crazy,
grail grills.
yeah.
Like
I can't
like
wait.
the
Yeah,
and the shoes that I have to fix, I want to fix them again because I'm trying to put them back on the pavement. Like that's like the thing that we're trying to do. Like they got a lot of collectors that collect, like you can collect to collect, but I'm
right.
but like you said, I think that's what's tripping people out too because
Mhm.
they're seeing it on feet.
Yeah,
That's what's different.
yeah, yeah. For the people that don't know, that haven't had a pair of sneakers, or that are 20 years old, or been sitting in a box for however long, those things will literally disintegrate.
Yeah, yeah,
They will. Your feet, you'll put your foot in them, and they
yeah.
will quite literally fall apart. I got a pair of Olympic sevens
Sevens, yeah.
that are just like heel separation. The little number 9 is peeled off the
Crack.
back of
Yeah,
them. It's a beautiful, when you look, if the sneakers just sitting there, they look great. Like they just look like I used to have them as like a backdrop in my old studio, just like sitting there.
yeah,
But if I put my foot in them things, collapse.
yeah,
Okay. So yeah, I think that's what people should understand about what you're doing. Like you're getting those things back. You're not just painting them up and making them look so they can look
yeah,
nice. You're putting them on pavement. You're wearing them. That
yeah,
means you're putting a lot of love and care into that sneaker.
yeah. Like I'm doing it with the intent to
Mhm.
wear, and some of the shoes, like you said, some of the shoes never retroed. So is find something extremely close and
Yeah,
and try to improvise. But I'm very like I'm so detailed. Like I try to make the shoe look as close to the original as possible. I'll
yeah,
go
yeah.
so far as to even wash the same shoestrings just to put the original shoestrings in the shoe.
Nice. That's you're like the guy that gets the old car, the old Corvette or the old Mustang, and gets it back into his original. It's just cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell.
Instead of
Yeah,
just getting the new parts.
yeah. Instead of just
Yeah.
getting it. on the outside is a 65 Mustang, on the inside is everything new. No, you putting the original gut back into this. It's super cool, man.
But
Super cool.
it's something to do. The good thing about it is, like I say, I do it for myself at my own leisure. I have a regular job. I have a wife. I do it when I feel like.
Right.
I could work on a shoe tomorrow and don't work on it for 2 weeks, and it's fine.
You're an enthusiast.
Yeah.
Hobby. How do you want to put? It's so cool, and I love sharing stories like this, man. I'm glad you're here sharing the story because I think it's just, again, people think of sneaker culture and they just think money, money, money.
Yeah.
And it is for a lot of people. I'm not going to sit here on like some type of like, artsy fartsy high horse, and act like everybody and everything about sneaker culture is just like this highfalutin, like deep artistic expression. For some people, it's really just about, man, I want off whites or I want Travs because that's the hotness, and I can resell that and get a lot of money for that, and I can wear, Supreme and blah blah blah. And I've got that stuff too. I'm not going to even act like I'm better than that. But I'm really happy when I can talk to someone like you, because you are the type of person that really defines and really makes sense out of the slogan line, wearable art, for this show. This is the type of person I like to talk to. You, man, I appreciate you, man. Before I let you go, I got to ask you something now on a selfish standpoint.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so I've got myself in this pickle.
Okay.
By saying I'm going to wear a different pair of sneakers every day of the year. Okay. And I can do it. I have a plan for it. All right. I have a plan for it. But, and you don't got to give me the sauce. Okay.
Yeah.
I would just say, as a historian, as a person who thinks outside the box when it comes to sneakers, and not just going to getting the newest, but also reaching back.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to me? Because I want to start wearing, I want to break out something different every now and then. I don't want to just be, all right, these are the bread ones. These are the cement threes. These are the, Trav. I want to blow some minds.
Yeah.
So just a general tip. Again, you don't got to give away the secret sauce. Okay. If I wanted to get into like the vintage side, where would I start?
I would say, for you, the good thing is like you was born at the time, so you was around, you knew what was going on, you watched TV, you saw a commercial, a Penny commercial, the Reebok Sinbad commercial, the Chris Rock commercial, Little Penny, so Michael Jackson, there's just so many commercials. So I would for you, instead of not only cost effective for like a lot of the new shoes, like, and this goes back to with the sneaker market now. You only can do that for so long. Like, nobody wants to, every time a shoe come out, pay $300-$400. Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Every now and then, but to consistently for months and months, every time a shoe come out, you can't get it, so you got to pay $3-4. I
got kids, bro.
Nah. You know what I'm saying? Find you a shoe that has a lot of colors in that silhouette, and try to get a bunch of the different colors. And even if you if you want to wear them and don't go back far, there is a era that I like to call, there's a golden era, the 90s, but then there's like a hidden golden era, which is like 2003, 2004, 2005.
Yep. So there you go.
So these shoes are not quote unquote vintage because they're not from the 90s, but that was the first time they came out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shoes in the early 2000s. They're not vintage because they're not from the 90s, like we think, but that was the first time they came out. So if you look at a lot of those 2003, 2004, like Barclays, the Trainer SCs, and a lot of the running shoes. This whole running thing is not a new thing either. A lot of those Nike running shoes and Sauconys and New Balance.
Like that. Yeah, they all, yeah.
This right here, if I show you this right, this is a 2005 East Bay magazine.
Check my man out. Man.
And so when I'm telling you to get something that's like, that you can kind of, with a bunch of different.
Yeah. Yup.
Running shoes. So look at it on the back.
Yep, I see. Yep, feeling fast. No, man. Yeah.
So go into that bag and get you some,
Yeah.
2005, 2006 running shoes. I mean, they got so many colors of like that shoe, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being that you from, up top, New Balance. Again,
Yeah.
those New Balance is not new.
Nope. Not at all, brother. I can.
990, 969. That's like not new shoes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
That's a good way that you can go and get easily 4 or 5 of the same shoe in different color
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
span it out toward 365. You know what I'm saying?
Look, we gonna get there. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Though you understand as a fellow sneakerhead,
Yep.
it is a challenge, but I'm gonna do it. I'm committed because it's fun and it's just, people know what I'm doing. So
Something to do. Yeah, yeah. But before we go, I gotta show off a couple of shoes.
yes, please. Big shout outs to Terrance, man. Hey dog, listen, and that's just part 1. Okay. Wait till you see part 2. That's when we get to the good stuff. I really subscribe to the channel, man. Subscribe to the channel, cut on the notification bells. Part 2 is going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. You'll see. If you're into this, you're going to see, man. Anyway, we'll get to that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, follow me on social media, MSR_Adam. Follow me on social media, MSR_Adam. You get to follow my 365 days of sneaks. If you follow me, you already seen it. I'm committed to that. You're going to see. We rocking and rolling. I'm going to try our best. All right. Follow me, MSR_Adam. Remember to mind your mental health, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you heard it. Look, this is what we've been talking about. Okay, mind your mental health. Take care of yourselves. Get a hobby. Find something you love and enjoy. Get into it, man. Life is hard. Find something to relax with and unwind with. Okay? All right? Mind your mental health. Mind your physical health. Get outside. Get some fresh air. Get that wind in the air in your lungs. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Do all of those things, man. Take care of yourself. We want you here. Okay? And remember, and never forget to be great. I'm up out of here. Peace.